We are the weirdos, mister.
So listen, normally I am the messiah of nonsense, but the world is just not letting us have enough nonsense. So what I've got for you today, it's a story of a lady who is leaving Maga. All right, who has left Maga. And I think that these kinds of things are important for us to hear. And the reason behind it is like understanding how people got into MAGA and then how they got out, because there are people that do get out, and we start finding out more information about why. And listen, I'm gonna switch screens. It's gonna be a bit of a jump scare, okay? Because she does very much look like MAGA. And I'm not saying anything bad about her looks. I'm just, because she is a beautiful woman. I'm just saying some of us have encountered women who look like her, and it could be negative feelings. So here we go. This is a channel called Life Take Two. I Left My Party is the name of the video. The turquoise and the necklace, the hair, like the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like it's a little for a lot of us, okay? So MAGA does have a look, right? Okay, so it's not just me. I'm not the asshole. I mean, I am an asshole, but I'm not the asshole, please.
I have a confession, and I'm so uncomfortable saying this that I don't even know if I can start my own video. Here we go. I was a Christian nationalist, white supremacist, Donald J. Trump loving trad wifey. I believed Democrats were evil, satanic, like literally Satan's little foot soldiers. I believed liberals, feminists, Democrats, immigrants were trying to destroy the world. And then I became all of those. Well, I guess technically not an immigrant. I don't know why I said the word technically. I am not an immigrant. I was born and raised here in the United States, but I am considering immigrating somewhere else. I've been kind of tempted by Sweden for personal reasons, but as an Arizona girly, I feel like it's too cold up there. Anyway, I took a video just for you of this little former MAGA girl's first Democratic political event.
And like that's kind of the interesting thing. She's going to her first Democratic political event. And I want to say that I do think that a lot of these people, like as with all cults, get indoctrinated into this cult, right? And it's very easy to believe this stuff. Like we all have little corners of the world that we crawl into, and if you're not careful, you can get sucked into the bad part of that world, right? Right. And I think we're gonna find out. Not Marjorie Taylor Greene. Listen, she's fighting against Donald Trump right now. It's wild. I said this a long time ago in private. I didn't say it out loud. It can be corroborated. As soon as Donald Trump got elected again, I said this is going to be a battle within that party. It's not going to be the rest of us it's going to be the party that's going to implode. And wouldn't you know it? Here we are, 6 months later. 6 months that has felt like 17 years.
So, I recently felt like I was having an out-of-body experience at a political event here in my hometown. I attended a town hall with Senator Cory Booker not long after his filibuster and Senator Mark Kelly and his wife Gabby Giffords, who was wounded here in Tucson by a gunman just a couple miles away from where I live. I brought Kev along with me.
Is a town hall. Our elected officials are here to listen and learn from you. Now more than ever, it is important to come together to share our stories and experience with our elected officials, and for them to be available to hear us.
Standing ovation for Gabby here.
Man.
And the applause went on and on and on.
I could not oh gosh, this is wild. Every time I think about like surviving that kind of stuff, I just it's very much an American thing. Not that the rest of the world doesn't experience gun violence or violence. It's just that in America, it's like every day. Obviously, we don't experience bombs and things like that because of being in America and being the ones who are dropping the bombs, unfortunately. But it's so widespread. Like everybody kind of knows somebody who has experienced gun violence here. And for those who don't live here, like ask Americans, just start asking Americans, do you know anybody who was shot? Like personally, you can interact with someone regularly online and they've experienced gun violence. It's actually hard to swallow when I say it out loud. It just like made me like be like, oh yeah. I think we will say that if we go to war, because you can tell people we are cutting costs to your healthcare, etc., but let's start a proxy war and it's their kids, poor kids, that are going to fight it. That too. And I'm also seeing, like, of course, the incels start ratcheting up about like feminists pretending that they're going to stay home because of war. And it's like, we did not make those rules. I swear to God, so y'all incels need to pick up books. You need to read and you need to figure out who made the rules around war. Because it twered us. And there are plenty of warring female tribes. All right? Y'all know that? Okay.
And on and on and on. I mean, I will never forget that day that Gabby was attacked, and her example of perseverance and grit is remarkable.
Days of pain and uncertainty will come.
She is so remarkable.
Senator Mark,
She's like doing a little vlog of this. So
her
I'm gonna
husband, Senator
move
Mark
up.
Kelly. I'm Jenny Gage, and this is like take two.
This is Jenna Gage.
I'm feeling a little bit unusually and possibly uncomfortably fancy today, just because I have a new necklace and I had nowhere to wear it, so I'm just wearing it for the camera. I am a turquoise girly. I don't know if you've noticed.
Oh, we
but
noticed.
It's literally like the only jewelry that I ever wear. Hold on. My whole jewelry collection.
She's doing her introduction and personal background. She's showing us her jewelry,
See
which
the theme. I even make Kevin wear turquoise. Find out. And the Sleeping Beauty turquoise is my personal stuff.
Can I go here?
I was a Trump voter in
There we go.
2020.
There we go.
A church-going Christian mom. I was taught that God had chosen America, that anybody else had my faith or race was a threat. My actual personal Facebook profile was Donald Trump, and he was like wearing this like Napoleon Bonaparte type of.
I can't. I'm so sorry. This is what I mean when we laugh at. Listen, thank you, girly. I'm thank you for sharing your story. But me personally, if I had been indoctrinated into the cult and I was like white, you know, I would never tell anybody this part. I would never. This would be the part I would leave out. Do you know? This would be the part of the story where I'd be like, it's fine. It's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to know this. All right. Oh God, here we go.
Uniform with this beautiful French hat. Yeah, that was me. Now I'm an atheist, a feminist, a Democrat. A whole bunch of things that honestly I thought were cuss words. And recently I went to my first town hall meeting as a liberal. And friends,
Girl, did she say she's now an atheist? See how much learning the Bible can just listen. No hate to true Christians. Listen, Kat, we're gonna find out. We're going on a mission. Listen, I know you don't believe her. We're going on a mission.
it was truly an out-of-body experience. And I'll get to why in just a minute. But first, I need to give you a little bit of my origin story, just in case you're new to me. My entire childhood was a curriculum of fear. I was taught to hate brown people, gay people, single women, liberals, Democrats, scientists, journalists, anyone who didn't praise Jesus, and Ronald Reagan on the same breath.
Wait. Okay. This is very interesting and quite cool. And I say this because for a lot of us who did not grow up conservative in any way, shape, or form, it's been this talking point that they grow up in fear. And like, that's why they have this, the true victim mentality. They have it because they grow up fearing everyone else. And she's speaking it to truth. Like, she's speaking it. She's telling us who have long, you know, I like to speak with my hands. She's kind of giving the alt-right man transition to atheist, Marxist, overly rational, like it seems they swing hard, which isn't always helpful. It's not, but I think you find a spot somewhere in the middle. I think you do find a spot somewhere in the middle.
Reagan was the president of my childhood, and everybody loved him. Like, I don't know, he was the king of my family and my community. He was great. Bring back Reagan. Let me explain to you what I mean when I say that I was a Christian nationalist, because that's really important. We hear that phrase tossed around a lot, and not a lot of people say, I am a Christian nationalist, but now that I no longer am, I feel like I can just kind of admit it, like own up to that, because I believe that deeply, all of it. So I was taught from birth that America was literally chosen by God, that guns were God-given, that our right to bear arms was sacred, that Heavenly Father had provided that for us. I was taught that feminists were kind of on the same level as witches or bitches, you pick, like nothing good about feminists. The empathy was weakness. And as I grew,
I'm sorry if I look insane right now. I'm sorry if I look insane. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't. I want the best for her and her future, Violet. Like, the more she talks about what she was taught, like, my brain literally, like, my brain is starting to bounce around in my skull. And I got a big brain, you know what I mean? So, and also I have a big head, so do with that information what you will. I just wasn't prepared. It's just like everything that she said. You know what I mean? It's like when you watch the Dirty Dozens or something like that, and they're like, you're an ugly, and you're like, ooh, out of work, ooh, you know what I mean? No tit having, ooh, that's what you, it just felt like it just kept going, like the badly built.
If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
It's giving that, and I wasn't prepared.
grew up and became an adult, I believed that Trump and other presidents were literally anointed by God. Now, in the Trump situation, obviously Romney, being my Mormon boy, he would have been the #1 most chosen, but since, you know, since he lost, that chosenness defaulted to Donald Trump. So how did I get where I am today? Well, everything came apart all at once. My faith, my marriage, my identity. Suddenly, the script I'd memorized no longer made sense. And here I am on the other side, woke. Like, you hear people say those woke feminists. Oh my God, the very thing that I hated and feared is now me. Like the color is inside the house, lady. And here I am. And as I went through,
I cannot breathe. I'm sorry. I don't mean to, like, I have like genuine, like, tears of incredulity, like, starting to form in my eyes. Cause she's just like, it all fell apart at one time. Girl. Wow. Listen, I think we have to be careful. I don't think she's necessarily found a new Kool-Aid to drink. We got to find out how she's got here. We got to find out how she's gotten here. Maybe she's not a grifter, y'all. Come on. Part of learning is that sometimes we have to learn to take people in and listen to their whole story before we come to a conclusion. We're supposed to be leftists. We're supposed to be trying to learn. Okay? Let's see what happens.
a personal transition, a spiritual transition.
Also, I will say this too. Grifting to the left is never a good idea. You don't make any money over there. Ask Bill Maher and his stupid, ugly ass. I can't stand that man. Well, don't you think... Shut up, Bill Maher.
A relational transition, an economic transition, a lot of which I've talked about here on my channel. I also began to experience a political transition. And that was hard, but authentic. And here I am. So I recently found myself at this Democrat town hall with all my former enemies in a little building here in Arizona. And it was a very rubber hits the road life moment for me. And even though I do identify now as a Democrat, I was still expecting to be annoyed and triggered. If you've had a life transition and you're deconstructing, you're still carrying some of that old life baggage with you. And I certainly did. So what I expected at this event was, like smugness, bitterness, divisiveness. And I did go in with the expectation of a lot of ignorance because I was thought that Democrats were just ignorant. I don't know. That's what I thought, you guys. But what I found.
This is why I say the internet is both good and bad. This is why the internet is both good and bad. Because again, I live with these people. I live with these people. I'm in Texas. I live with these types of people. And the internet gives you this idea that every leftist is like Hassan, and then every right-wing person is like Charlie Kirk. And that's just like not the case. Because I promise you, if you walked by this woman in, Arizona, Texas, Mississippi, Florida, you would probably know her political affiliation, but she's not gonna start talking to you about how you're like, she's not gonna walk up to you and be like, oh, what are you, triggered? This is all online rhetoric. It's all online rhetoric. And then in the real world, people do not talk to you like this. They just don't. Like, you will find that even some people who voted for Trump will end up telling you, like, I feel like people, they'll start saying some left-wing ass shit without even knowing that they're saying left-wing ass shit. Like, I was talking to somebody whom I know has issues with like gender or whatever at work, and I know she probably voted for Trump. And I was sitting there looking at her being like, we, the workers, should have stake in our companies. And she was like, yes, we should. This is what I'm saying. Like, they don't talk like that like they do on the internet. Every leftist you encounter does not start like getting flustered and yelling at you. And every like right-wing person is not screaming and frothing at the mouth. And a lot of that, especially when we're looking at how it's done online, like people do things deliberately for clicks to irritate people. And I also will say that knowing you're being filmed can also, and often does, irreparably change your behavior, right? Like I'll use this as an example, which is just a wild little example. But when I was in high school, we went on choir trips. The first trip we went to, I think, was we went to London. And apparently I was hilarious to the videographer, okay? And he had one of them big ass ones because it was the 90s and it was a VHS tape, okay? He was carrying that big bitch around like bop, bop, bop. And apparently I was absolutely hilarious. And all the moments that he caught my hilarity were like off the cuff, right? And so of course I'm just, because I am a hilarious person, I am quite funny and interesting. But I'm kidding. But then the following year we went to Boston, and he shoved that camera in my face at every opportunity, wanting me to say something funny. It was really hard to do it on command like that because I was just like, I'm just naturally funny, but I'm not a comedian. I'm not someone who wrote jokes for the trip, bitch. Like, what are you doing? And so I think that there is a difference between like when you're being filmed and you know you're being filmed, how you're going to act. And I think when we're looking at the internet and we look at how these people behave, we look at how people comment, this isn't how we talk in our real lives. And also we're limited by characters. We're limited by what we can and can't say. There are censors that pick up stuff, so you can't really get into nuance a lot. And people don't like nuance on the internet. They really want it to be very black and white. She went to this Democratic convention, which I skipped over because she talks slow. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
Found instead was peace. It was so weird that I have decided to do a video just for you to tell you about some of the things that were super weird for me. Here's 6 things that shocked me as a former conservative, religious, Christian nationalist, white supremacist, trad wifey, Trump voter who's transitioned over to the other side, going to my first Democratic event. Number 1, there was no hate. Like, I didn't see anything hateful in the entire event. Nobody called the other side names. There were no slurs. And I didn't hear like a lot of labeling and categorizing, like, you know, calling people illegals, calling people imposters. And like, that was all kind of part of the thing on the other side. And I'll admit, I kind of liked it because it's fun to other people. So if the crowd got all pumped up and we were talking about illegals or like trans people, then that was kind of cool because I'm not that. So I'm better than them. I didn't see any of that here. I never heard a label or any type of hatred from the people who were participating in the town hall, just us regular citizens like myself, to all of the politicians on the stage, mayor that was moderating, hostessing the event. We just talked about issues. There was no hatred hurled at other humans. Number 2, there was no savior complex. And this made me feel a little bit uneasy at first.
The points she brings up are important ones. I see her listening and learning, actually. Yes, because she's sitting there saying, like, in the conservative awful side, we othered people regularly, and I got pumped up doing it. She admits to that part of it. She's like, I got pumped up about it because it is fun to other people. It is, because like that's part of the human condition, tribalism, that's part of it. Having a community that you're a part of, and then you're here and they are over there. That's one of the problems I also have with a lot of leftists, including myself, and we got to work through it. You know, we've got to work a little harder at not immediately being othering people. I am not as compassionate or empathetic, again, as Hassan, because I will not entertain platforming or having conversations with people that I know are terrible people because I'm just giving them more space. Like, my platform's obviously not as large, but I'm not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't need to expose people to someone's awfulness in person. I also have a lot of distrust for him anyway because of who he hangs out with or did hang out with. So, you know, it's always going to make me really uncomfortable that he had a podcast for 2 years with Ethan Klein and still continued to call him a friend and defend him after all the things that Ethan did. So like, he's not a man that I would feel comfortable being alone in a room with at all. No matter how cute it is, don't listen. Attractive, yes, but still no. I think that her bringing that up and saying like that was a big part of it is like, that's how they bring people in, because you're not that. And so now you have a group of people who you are like, but what you end up having to discover later, like even when I talked about it a little bit in the Fly in the Milk video, which thanks again, FD, for that term. I don't know if you got it from somewhere else because I forgot to go look it up, but who cares? But it's very easy to other yourself and be like, we're different than you. I'm not that kind of black. I'm better. I'm different. I'm special. And then it makes it hard for you to be in community with other people. So there's that. And Em brought up a really good point. I think we have to give people time. Changing your entire worldview in marriage and life takes time. And we honestly don't know about her personal life. Yeah, that. Like, this is a 22-minute video. We're getting a small window into the changes that she has incurred and why and how she's incurred them, and her just like going through it. So now she's on point number 2. I'm going to bring it back just a smidgen.
No savior complex. And this made me feel a little bit uneasy at first. Nobody was promising to fix everything. In my former party, the leaders were all these rock stars. Like, they were these peacocks strutting around. They were so powerful, and they made so many promises. Like, I will lead you. I will make America amazing again. Like, they had all the answers to everything, and all I had to do was follow along at this Democratic town hall. I felt like they were inviting us to take part, to like clear all equals without that status, stratification, and power being part of the equation. And I felt a very like JFK, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country type of vibe. If I were going to put this a little bit in a sentence, I would say it felt like democracy, not Messiah worship. Very refreshing.
Girl, let's give her a round. Because listen, that's a big part of the deconstruction. What did I say? What did I say? I said this before. I keep saying this about conservatism and why it's bad. And the number one reason I keep saying it's bad is because it doesn't require any work on your part as a person. You just get to follow. That's why I think it's highly ironic and just like a lot of cognitive dissonance for them to be calling people sheep. Because I'm like, babes, you're doing no thinking of your own. Not a bit. You just get to head empty your life through everything. And that's easy mode. A lot of us wish we could be on easy mode because it would just be easier. You could just be like, I don't have to have a thought. I don't have to think about this because you thought about it for me. So I don't have to do it. Like, girly pop she's doing the work. Okay. All right.
And okay, along with that, number 3, there was no religious rhetoric. No one claimed to be chosen by God. And as someone who used to love when Trump said, God bless America, or George W. Bush said a prayer, or people quoted scriptures or talked about the 10 Commandments and all that stuff, like I just ate that up in my former life. This Democrat town hall, without the religious rhetoric, without quoting any scriptures, without invoking the name of God, it all felt weirdly honest and practical and refreshing. And it felt like a space where anyone of any faith, of no faith, could come together as equal citizens and find a common ground. Number 4, empathy seemed to underscore everything, from the people that were there gathered for the town hall, that were just regular citizens that were asking questions, to the leaders that were on the stage. Everyone just really amplified this compassion for other people, trying to understand different people's circumstances with respect and dignity. And it didn't matter whether we were talking about homeless veterans or kids in school who aren't getting their services anymore because some of the funding has been cut. Everybody was respected and honored. And again, no name calling, no othering. In fact, empathy was such a central theme that Cory Booker based his whole entire speech. When he took the microphone, it was all about empathy. Here's what he said. He said, we are not in a political crisis. We are in a compassion crisis. He said, my greatest concern as a senator in the United States today is our empathy deficit. And the whole room nodded and applauded, and people cried like empathy mattered to all present. I cried. Everybody cried.
I'm really happy that she understood that. Like, empathy is so important. I don't have enough of it, okay? If you are on the wrong side of me. And I don't know if I'll ever work on it. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'll ever work on that part of it. Because there's a level to which I can't continue to have empathy for people who don't want to see anything other than the easiest route. Those two things go hand in hand that she's learned. Her number 3 point and her number 4 point go hand in hand. That there is no Messiah, that nobody is going to just fix everything. And I think this is where people will both sides, that both of the Democrats and the Republicans are equally bad. And I will say that on a financial level, yes. And the way that they both take money and allow corporations to really shape all of the legislation in this country, yes. But I do think that when we're talking about trying to enact policy that is helpful for everyone, I think that is where the Democrats stand up. And they need to stand the fuck up right now. Like, I don't know what y'all, like, all of y'all, get up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up.
Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up.
But that Messiah complex very much comes from that Christian right, knowing who they're talking to and saying they're anointed by God, that they have all of the answers, because that's part of a cult. Somebody telling you that they have all of the answers takes a lot of pressure off of you. Like, even right now, there's a lot of us, whether we know it or not, are probably susceptible to a cult right now, because life is mad stressful. There's a lot on your plate. Inflation is going through the roof. Another war looks like it's being started. The world is at war, it feels like. You can't buy a home. Your jobs don't pay enough money. Do you understand right now how easy it would be for someone to suck you into a cult of a life that wouldn't have to be based off of capitalism? That's how this starts to ratchet up, especially as an adult, because adults got sucked into this too. Adults who weren't necessarily Christian nationalists, they got sucked into this too. You're watching the world change. It feels very out of control for you. And there are a few things you can do. When everything's out of control, hi, I'm Audra, your unlicensed therapist. When things get out of control, there's things that you can do to attempt to gain back some of that control when it feels like you have none. One is what a lot of these Christian nationalist MAGA thumpers, the Trumplicans, have done, which is to hate the other people and try to gain that control back with hatred. The other is to implode, which a lot of us do, especially us neurodivergent baddies. We just implode for a while. We're like, oh, who cares? Everything's bad. Fuck it all. Throw it all in the garbage. I don't know what you want me to do. And then others are trying to reach out. Like, a third one is to try to reach out, help others, find new community, and find ways in which you may not be able to control the world, but you can control how you react to it. That's the most adult one. Oh, by the way, that's the most adult one. That's having emotional regulation and sense. So when you take this from people, when you tell them, like, we have all the answers, and you're able to just sit there and be like, yeah, then you lose empathy. You, like, absolutely will lose that empathy. It's impossible for you to continue to have that empathy, because if those people had empathy, then the things happening with ICE, the things happening to women's rights, the poor woman who was dead and her family had to incur and watch as the state of Georgia did nothing and tried to grow, like, use her as a baby growing machine, which they didn't, because babies we're mammals. We're mammals, and live birth is what we do. And in order to give live birth, you will also have to be alive. You can't grow a human like that. That's why it hasn't been done. Not just for ethical reasons, because we all know science is highly unethical a lot of times, but it's because you can't do it without, like, the host being alive and well and functioning and eating and breathing and laughing. A big part of the in utero situation is, like, the mom growing and loving the baby as it grows. So, like, these are things that if you have no empathy because you have been told and sucked into this I am the Messiah, I know what's right situation, and then you're also able to other a bunch of people, then you won't have empathy for anything bad happening to them. It is why these people cannot give a fuck about what's happening to Palestinian children, women and children. It's why they can just not care. It's why you have Israeli people right now upset that Iran bombed women and children. But when you ask them the same thing about Palestine, it doesn't compute, because they don't see they do not see Palestinians as people. So, like, this is why all of this is important. This is why all of this is important. But yeah, I do think that people just kind of try to act as if those two things aren't hand in hand. And it's not all people, but a lot of people don't realize that that is a part of what the right does with the othering, is removing that empathy. Because once the empathy is gone, then you see people on the system using the system that their tax dollars pay for, like unemployment, like SNAP. You see people who use those as lazy pieces of crap, deadbeats who don't do anything. Because in your mind, you would never be in that situation. You would just immediately find a job and you would never need these services. And if you did use those services, you use them the right way. You see? You see?
And you guys, it all felt very, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Your immigrants from yonder storm-tossed, war-torn shore. Oh, geez. Sorry, I should have read this before I tried to quote it, but Ellis Island, the Statue of Liberty, does any of that ring a bell? Those are the foundations of the United States. My ancestors, all of our ancestors, unless we're indigenous, were immigrants. Well, different. E pluribus unum.
Also, I would just like to say real quick, did you see that? She is learning. She is doing the work, babe. She said, all my ancestors, unless they are indigenous. Girly Pop is learning. She's doing the work. Okay, all right.
And that compassion for other people just permeated everything that happened. Okay, number 5, there was no whiteness at the center of everything. This was not just a town hall for the rich white billionaires, talking about their issues and how they can get richer and whiter. And again, like my origin story, I grew up in a very blonde, blue, white-centered American religious community, and that served me because, I mean, my people were the bad guys in the story. They were the ones who came over and conquered everybody, and that worked for me. That worked to my benefit. I had privilege in ways that not a lot of people do, and my party served me, because if you're going to say those people are the best ones, and I just happen to be those people, great. At this town hall, just looking around, it looked like America. Like real America. Again, not just the rich white people with their guns and their Bibles.
Don't be fooled by the turquoise that I got. I'm still learning a lot. Used to like Trump, but now I don't. No, she's not claiming blondness. She's saying that the party that she's a part of, that she used to be a part of, and the family that she came from was very white, blonde, blue eyes. You'll see this a lot in Mormonism if you've ever watched any of the videos about Mormonism, and how often many of them will dye their hair blonde. And also why boob jobs and plastic surgery is like okay and encouraged, because there's a look you're supposed to have, and their God is okay with that so long as they're maintaining the look and the life. So that's not unusual. If she grew up like she's saying she grew up, there's a reason why she looks this way. And I'm not talking about her being unattractive. I'm talking about the blonde situation. And as she was bringing up, it served her, so there was no reason for her to feel otherwise. Again, coming back to the point I've made, conservatism doesn't require you to do anything. It's on your side, doesn't require any change on your part. So like for her, the Republican, the Trumplican served her. She's great. She's blonde, she's white, she has blue eyes. She's like the perfect picture of whiteness. What reason would she have to even have empathy or to want out of that? Because like you're the best. She probably asked the wrong questions, and that's where everything went wrong for her. Literally all you got to do is look right white. Yeah, and that's it. Sweden might be because of the benefits that they have. A lot of people think about moving to Sweden, not the UK as much, because the UK is getting just as bad in a lot of ways. So I think people are trying to get to places that have really good healthcare and actually give a fuck about their people. Yeah, especially if you're a minority and go conservative, they throw you a Lexus in house just if you let them say slurs in front of you. Oh my God, I'm fucking, oh Jesus. So like there's reasons for it, because other Black people do the same thing. Black people will also look at places like Sweden, Scotland as well, Ireland. Those are like 3 places that I know regularly that Black people will talk about trying to get to. It's not because there's no racism. It's because at least one, if there is racism, it's kind of in your fucking face. They let you know that they don't like you. And the other is that their police are not actively able to shoot you and murder you on live television. So there's that. There's that part. That's actually the main one. That's the main one. That's the main one. Summerfall, I do agree with you. I feel like you don't get to leave America, especially as a white, until our shit is figured out. It feels like a cop-out. Yeah, I feel like the true reparations at this point, listen, okay, I gotta bring my big face up here because I'm about to say some wild shit. I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble for this. And I need for y'all to like just let me get in trouble, I guess. But the true reparation should be white people funding our escape. Thank you. Let us escape, but we're not getting on any boats, and you just have to give me the money so that I can leave. Don't make it weird. I don't want a get out situation here. Do you feel me? Thank you. Like, that should be the fund. Funding us getting the fuck out of here. Let them have it. You know what I mean? Every like liberal leftist white family should help fund a black family to get the fuck out. And we just move in tandem. We just all leave the shit behind. It's a different kind of cult where we don't drink any awful substances at the end. We all live happily elsewhere.
But there were Navajos, and of course, my state of Arizona is, I've heard it's 50% Latino. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but certainly that's what it seems like. And Asians, and everybody was represented, not just in the people attending, but on stage too. Whites were definitely in the minority, and privilege was in the minority. And it felt like it should be. That's all I can say about that. And number 6 being about the...
Did you see that? I think she just learned that, like, as she was talking about it. Let me show it to you again. I think she just realized that as she said it. Like, literally as she said it, and then she kind of shook.
Well, it felt like it should be. That's all I can say about that.
It felt like it should be.
Number 6 being...
Yes, we don't need a white nation. It's just filled with unseasoned food and poorly done lip filler.
About the Democrat town hall that seemed weird to me was hope over doomsday gloom. As a Christian nationalist, I was 100% sure that everything was going to hell in a handbasket, like imminently, and that it was all going to collapse. Especially if a Democrat got elected, or my guy didn't get elected. I knew like all of this was going to crumble eventually, and then Jesus was going to have to come back and rescue all of us, because that's the thing. That's the basis of everything. You read the Bible? I had food and fuel and water and weapons and stuff like stockpiled for years. Literally, not figuratively, not just jokingly. Yeah. And I feel like that was one thing that I always loved about participating in my old party's events or watching TV shows. Like, everyone was kind of on the same page that America is about to fall off a cliff, or the earth is about to fall off a cliff, the whole entire human race is about to go extinct, and we've got to fight this, and only this guy can save us, and only we can save us, and like disastrous eminence. So that was kind of like this call to action, like, we got to get going, we got to mobilize. I didn't see any of that at this little town hall. There was a real sense of stability.
This is one of those times where I wish that Shy was here, because they've studied cults. Listen, the doomsday prepping, they all are on the same page that eventually everything's gonna fall apart. It's why you regularly will see in like varying forums, whether you're on Reddit or wherever, where someone will try to explain to them when they say things like, oh, I don't see y'all having a Biden hat. And we're like, yeah, because we don't worship the guy. In fact, a lot of us hate him. And here's the reason that the election turned out the way it did. That's right, I said it. Because if his grumpy old ass had just done his one term like the fuck he was supposed to, they would have had time to get a candidate, regardless of who the candidate was. But they would have had prep time. None of us wanted to vote for that man. He was old then, positively ancient the second time around. So like, we don't worship our political leaders. It's one of the reasons why. And again, I understand why people felt like they couldn't vote for Harris. I understand that. But I am going to say, for those of us who understood what was at stake, and for those of us who have participated in politics for quite a long time, you don't just vote and then it's over. You vote and you keep pushing them to do their fucking job. Like, you don't get to just be like, oh, I vote and sit back. You have to keep making these motherfuckers work. Like, you can't let them just do whatever. You can't just be like, oh, vote's over, gonna go sit down. Like, you literally have to keep pushing them to do their jobs. It wasn't like when Harris got in office, we were just gonna be like, oh, Harris is here. Like, we had to keep fighting. We had to keep pushing until the situation in Palestine was resolved, until, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just like vote and then be done. It was vote and make her work. I know right now it has that sensation of being like, how did not voting go for you? again, I understand. And I understand not having the empathy for these people right now because of what's happening. And it's very easy to have this. But then I also have to think about the reality that if it weren't going in this direction, if this wild orange madman weren't destroying everything and things were just like reasonably garbage, we wouldn't be having these arguments now. We wouldn't be having these conversations the way that we're having them and being shitty to people. There are people who had like personal family members and whatnot that suffered. And I'm not going to get too into it because that's not like, my story to tell. There are people who've said things in comments and I understand that. But at the end of the day, we just don't worship our political leaders, whether you're a liberal, whether you're a leftist. I just don't believe in centrists. I'm sorry. I know that's a wild, I don't believe in them. I don't think they exist. I'm going to stand on that. I don't think they exist. I think it's just made up. Centrist is just code for right wing, but like, I don't want to say that. Just like on a dating profile where moderate is also conservative, but they just don't want to say that they're conservative because they won't get matched up with liberal women, which they want to be matched up with liberal women on purpose because liberal women have fun. No hate to conservative women. It's a different type of fun. Some of y'all might not, take it up the poop chute. Some of y'all might not do cocaine off of a random stripper's titty. I'm just saying. Some of y'all just won't do those things. So I said conservative men are seeking out liberal women because they treat them with respect and equity in the relationship, but they want a trad wife one-way deal and are surprised when liberal women want to be respected. Yeah, it's that, and because I think a lot of people don't know the difference between like incel and conservative, and while some people might want to go, it's the same thing. I know the meme. It's the same picture. It's not necessarily, because here's the thing. If you want an equitable relationship, like I live in Texas, right? If you want an equitable relationship where your wife works, this is strictly hetero during Pride, how dare I know. If you want an equitable relationship where your wife works, you're both bringing shit to the table, etc., you will not find that with a lot of conservative women, very specifically because they have been raised as she raised. The man provides, the man does all of this, like da 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 da. And so you go out, get job, but the economy doesn't make room for that. So a lot of conservative men started dating liberal women again, booty sex and stripper dust, maybe some three ways, maybe a little swinging, go freaky dicks, have a fun conversation of back and forth. You can laugh, you can giggle, have a good time, farting. But you won't find all of that with a lot of conservative women because they're going to expect you to go out, get job, provide for the family. And if you cannot do that, then she will have to leave you for someone who can. So like that's at the heart of the problem. So a big problem in the South, and I can only speak for like living in Texas and seeing how it works, is that a lot of these men don't realize that they're conservative by birth, but not by beliefs.
And go, citizens come and go, but we're built on a foundation. The American Constitution, our form of government, the infrastructure, everything, the economy, everything, the citizenry, everything that we've built here. This foundation has protected and provided for a long time and will continue to do so for a long time if we just take care of it. The hope is in the Constitution. The hope is in our way of being, in the law, not in a hero, not in a savior. And I gotta say, that vibe, the vibe of stability, it broke me a little. The vibe of hope. Positivity over negativity. My old politics were so doom and gloom and hell in a handbasket that it was actually weird to just sit there with this massive group of people soaking in hope and positivity. And in a lot of ways, it felt like how beautiful but also uncomfortable at the same time it was for me to leave a 24-year abusive relationship and sit with a man who's just secure and loving and doesn't love bomb, withdraw, put me through that whole entire ugly cycle. But
girl, you know what? I swear to you, leaving a man makes you get your sense. Leaving a man is so helpful. Let me rephrase. Leaving an abusive man tends to get you on the right side of the world, meaning you're on the left if you are in the US. Like, right. I need an applause button. I need like an applause because girl, yes, that is what happened. She gets out of this abusive relationship. She is an LWW, a liberated white woman. You are correct, Violet.
just steady, consistent, dependable affection and partnership. I really had that narcissistic abuse relationship escapee vibes throughout this whole entire experience. That's the only thing that I can relate it to, honestly. And here's what I learned. And you guys, I apologize. I keep fidgeting with this dress. I don't usually wear, I don't know. It's not my usual like t-shirt and like little.
The millennial urge to wear like cold shoulder or shoulder out shirts that don't make any sense. Girl, just put on a tank top. Listen, from one lefty to another, put on a tank top. Them little slouchy shirts, they are bad for you. Just put on a tank top.
Little flowy pants. I don't know. The hair, the dress, the necklace. I'm gonna go back and watch this video and wish I hadn't touched my shoulders and my neck so much, but I'm not gonna re-record it, and I apologize. Close your eyes when you watch this video if you have to. I'm sorry. How do I not fidget with this? Here's what I learned. I used to fear woke people, liberals, Democrats. I thought they were monsters. And I spent decades fearing the wrong people. I was taught that they were monsters, but it turns out that they're just people. Many of them deeply kind, compassionate, thoughtful, hardworking, tired people. And again, I'm one of them now. And honestly, it was just downright.
Girl, I almost cried when she said tired because I'm so exhausted. Like even talking about it right now is making my eyes start to get a little watery. I'm so tired. But yeah, you're taught that, by the way, because if you think of them as the other and that they're evil, then you won't actually attempt to have conversations with them. Because again, if you have conversations with these others and you then discover that these others are people, bad news. That's how slavery got the way that it got, right? Like, again, the Northerners weren't like, oh, we love black people. They were like, hey, did y'all know black people are people? Did y'all know that? Well, I don't know if y'all knew this, but them blacks are people. They can talk and shit. And they also can read. And apparently they have emotions. So might not be so great for us to be like enslaving a people. Right? Like that's where it came from. Like once you start realizing that another group that you have othered are human beings, it gets hard for you to not see them as such. Like it's very easy to be transphobic and shitty to trans people when you know no one in your life who is trans. When all the people that you know who are trans are people on the internet. So it's easy for you to be like that because you don't ever have to interact with someone in real life. You don't have to interact with a trans person, a gay person, a black person, a non-binary person. You don't have to interact with these people in your everyday life because you're insulated. So it's really easy to be shitty to them. Then you go on like a vacation or something and you run into a trans man and you're like, holy shit, you're like just a man. And they're like, yeah, I know. Wild. And it fucks up your worldview. You can't talk to the other, right? Like, it's like The Village, which I like that movie. A lot of people didn't like it, but if you look at it now, it does make a fuck ton of sense.
Humbling to sit in that room, to realize how much I had misunderstood, to feel dumb.
Now, Summerfall, when we talk about the North, we never speak of Boston. Boston is the racist capital, okay? Boston is more racist than Mississippi, okay? We don't understand how. Is it Bruno? Boston is our Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. No. Okay, all right. Oh, jeez.
But also free to empathize and to find common sense solutions. You guys, it was absolutely nothing that I expected. I was frankly just blown away, and it has left me just questioning everything. It was quite a pivotal moment for me, and I'm still thinking about it. I don't even know how to process the unexpected surprise that it was. So here's my final thoughts. If you're watching this and you feel like your world is falling apart, maybe it is. Maybe you're surrounded by the wrong damn crowd. I don't know if you've read that little children's fairy tale about the little chicken little, is it Chicken Little? That runs around like, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And it wasn't the sky falling, it was an acorn pinging on its little chicken head. If you truly feel like your world is falling apart and you're surrounded by other people who are reinforcing that the world is falling apart, maybe it was an acorn, maybe the world is not falling apart. Maybe you need to step away from the people that want you to think that the sky is falling. I'm glad I did. It's so refreshing, so peaceful, it's so wonderful. And if you have made that jump to the other side,
She said Boston is weird kind of because they ride hard for ICE to leave them alone. Yeah, we racist, but you can't take Jose. That's my neighbor. Like, Listen, Bostonians are really weird like that. They're a very interested, like they need to be studied, not in a hateful way, but like in a what? Like it's very interesting spot. It's a very, very interesting. Yes. Yes, camp in a poke them with a stick way. Can you believe I had wanted to go to UMass? I'm so glad I did not get in because I like being called the hard ER at every turn. Ugh, Jesus. And all the other little fun slurs that they make up for you along the way. At least they're creative with it.
If you've questioned or started to step away from or actually left your faith, your party, your relationship, whatever the thing is that was causing you so much distress, you are not crazy. Don't let them make you think you are. You're waking up like Sleeping Beauty. And that is a very good thing. Don't go backward just because this new space feels unfamiliar. Just explore a little and see what feels truly authentic to you. You might just shock yourself. I was indoctrinated and I got out. Here I am. And I found community, not where I was told it would be, but in the very people that I was taught to hate. And let me tell you, it's the best thing in the world. It's better than I ever imagined that it would be. And I'm so happy that I'm here. If this resonated with you, will you please drop a comment? If you're in the middle of a phase of political unraveling, I see you. Subscribe for more. I'll have more content like this coming up. And I have a Substack article on my childhood indoctrination into white supremacy. It is a little bit of an emotional read, and it is behind paywall, I believe, as of the recording of this video, unless I change my mind. So I'll put that link in the description. Thanks for being here, guys, and have a great day.
I think one of the reasons she's speed running this is because when you get out of a bad relationship of any form, one of the first things a lot of us do is run immediately to the opposite side. So like if you dated someone who was short, you're like, I'm only dating tall men. And yeah, and real talk, if she's talking about things in her community or life, her former community might not respond well to it, that as well, especially if she was indoctrinated. We'd have to find out more information about this lady. I just saw this video. I did not know that she was doing all these things, but like she's trying to be as safe about things as she can and also make money. God damn it. It's capitalism. Fuck off. Like it is what it is. Capitalism is going to capitalize. We all need to make money because unfortunately they won't let us like live places and eat food if we don't have money to exchange. I do think that it's very interesting to watch people like her who look like her, who talk like her, who go through the things that she's gone through and see how they wake up. And like some of the comments that I saw, I'm not going to pull them up because I think it's rude to other people's comments on my screen. I feel like weird about it. There's one who says, ex-Republican atheists here too. Somewhere along the way, I realized about the fear and division was the point. The rich want to keep working class people fractured, and Fox News has led that charge for decades. People, when they wake up and they start to look around, like that movie with Vin Diesel, Blood something or other. Is it a good movie? No. Is it somewhat entertaining? Actually, it's highly entertaining. I have a good time with it. He's living in like a simulation essentially, and every day he wakes up and he lives through these simulations, and they keep trying to get him to murder people. He's targeting people to murder, and the everyone else around him is aware that he's living like this. And they will say and do things in the hopes that he will just like wake up to reality, but he just like never does until he does. And when he wakes up, he goes full on, like starts to fucking lose it because he's realizing that like his entire life for however many long years that he has been being used as a government experiment has been a lie. He's been going and trying to seek retribution for his wife being tortured in front of him when that never happened. And so of course he's going to go like wild, you know what I mean, on the people who did this to him. Could he have calmed down and like chilled out for a little bit before like losing it? Like, yes, but he calms down after he goes wild and fucks some shit up. And I think that that's what happens a lot. And this is why when people are making these transitions, it's why I do say like we do have to have a little calm, okay? Because they're going to want to jump right in. It's no different than when Black Lives Matter was really big. It didn't stop. Black lives still do matter, but was really, really big, and people were trying to get involved in it. And then you could tell the ones who were so used to living in their conservative little bubble, right? Because they could not handle being at the center of it, and they did not like being told that they were wrong. And instead of taking that information and being like, let me just sit with that and understand why it's upsetting to me. Instead, they like kind of lost their shit and were like, fine, this is why nobody wants to fucking help you blackies, and left. Because they speed ran into it, right? Eventually, they will find this middle ground. I think that she is on a journey of understanding that the way that she grew up and how she was raised contributed negatively to her life in such a way that even her marriage was impacted. She was married to an abusive man. And by finding ways to get out of that, by looking at it, this is how she gets out and starts to realize, like, oh, you know, she might fall headfirst into white feminism, but okay, you know, that's better than nothing, I guess. It's gonna be a long journey. We're gonna start seeing a lot more of these stories, and as I find them, I will bring them to you because I think it's fascinating. I think it's interesting. I think it's important for us to understand how people got where they got and what they're getting as they move out of that party, as they move out of the cult of Trump. Because it's really important to be able to, I guess, yeah, you know, welcome them into the fold carefully. We don't want to end up like in the movie The Uglies, where she went over there to save her friend. I have a lot of movie references. I watch a lot of TV and movies. So anyways, that's it for this video. If you like it, subscribe. You know, if you don't want to subscribe, you don't have to, I guess. I'll just keep breaking my back working for the post office. It's fine. It's only 100 degrees. It's great. You know? And until next time, I am so pretty, and so the fuck are you?